How do you install the EG4 Electronics 12K inverter to the EG4 280 amp hour battery? Today I'm doing an unboxing and an install. I'm going to put both of these together, show you how to do it. We're going to put it on the wall. I recommend you have 2 people because the battery is super heavy. What do we got here? Okay, got a bunch of stickers. Here's the plate we're going to use to mount the inverter on the wall. And then, look at this. Wow. Look at that. Got the quick start guide. Definitely going to read this. Look at this massive inverter. Wow. Oh, we got bolts. This thing is pretty heavy. I love the fact that there's some QR codes on the boxes. These obviously lead to the website where you can get instructions. So that's really cool. We got a little brown box here, and look inside, we got some CTs. So that is really cool. I tried to open it up because there's levers right here, and I could not, but I found a package with screws. We got a couple different types of screws for installing the mounting bracket on the wall. I like the fact that they've got some expandable bolts, lag bolts. So that's pretty cool, but there's a key. There's a key inside. This is awesome. Wow, I'm excited. Look at this. Wow, it smells new. I love it. PV input, neutral bar. This is for where our load is, our generator, so we can have generator power this. Here's the grid, L1 and L2. Here's the battery. We got our battery terminals. And then we've got our battery breaker. So it's like 250 amp. We got a 280 amp battery, so that's pretty awesome. We've got a board right here that is used to control everything. So this is really nice. Let's open up the box and check out the battery. We got these metal tabs here. If you take and put a flathead screwdriver in between that tab, and then you could probably take the other side and fold it up. That's how you're going to be able to get this top off. We're going to go all the way around. We're going to do the same thing. Pull that tab up there. Screwdriver on the other end. You may be able to use some pliers as well. We're ready to take off the top. Packaged really nicely. A lot of foam. Gotta say, this box is heavy duty. Here's the quick start guide. Beautiful. EG4. Quality control test. That's awesome. Quality control report. We got battery cables. If you've got equipment you can use to lift this out of the box, use the equipment. If you got a friend that can help you, try, but don't hurt yourself. So here's some handles. We're gonna lift it straight up. And then I'm gonna drop it. I'm just gonna bring it back. Wow, that is nice. It's out of the box, guys. That's awesome. We got adjustable feet so that you can level up the battery and set it against the wall and it be straight. So that's nice. We're going to go ahead and lift it up. Now I'm going to take out this rope because I no longer need this since we've got it off the ground. Wow. That was a smart idea. Gotta hand it to the guys at EG4. They have thought this through. Once you get it up, you can move it around, set it up against the wall, figure out where you want it. I think this is where I want it. Boop. So in between the battery and the inverter, we have something called a shroud. Take a look at this box. This is the indoor wall mount shroud. And if you take a look at the QR code right here, it says scan for installation guide, EG4 Electronics. I love the fact that they want to try to make it as user-friendly and as simple as possible by giving you the instructions you need to be able to know what to do, what comes first. So we need to take and scan that QR code and figure out the instructions. Let's scan this QR code. Boop. Right. Open the PDF. Look at this, EG4 Indoor Buildable Conduit Box Quick Start Guide. So we're going to go through here and we're going to know exactly what we need to do to put this box together. Let's get it done. Now that we've assembled the indoor conduit box, we can attach this to the battery right here. And the way we do that is, you can see there's holes right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we've got these screws right here that we're going to take out. We're going to place through those holes. That way our conduit box is secured to the top of the battery. We got to take this, which is the front cover, off before we do that. So I'm going to take this front plate off, and then I'm going to take these screws out and then show you how we attach this buildable indoor conduit box to the battery. Now we got the conduit box sitting right above the battery, and you can see you got to make sure that your ground wire is on the side where the ground screw is, because we're going to attach that wire there with that ring terminal. Now I've got my 4 screws, and you can see we've got our pre-drilled holes, and we're just going to attach those 4 screws through our conduit box to the battery. So I'll get these screws tightened up, and then I'll tighten this ground screw to that ground wire, and this part of the install is done. Now we got the indoor buildable box attached to the battery. See the screws? And then we got the ground screw right here connected to the ground cable. Here's our front plate, which is used to be able to access the cables that are run from the battery to the inverter. Now we're ready to mount the inverter on top of the indoor conduit box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and knock out these knockouts right here. And I think there's 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9. And we've got a plastic connector or a cable hole cover to go into each one of those knockouts. So I'm going to take my hammer and a flathead screwdriver, and I'm going to take and knock these out. So be careful when you're knocking them out. You're going to take and they're very easy to knock out. See that? Now we got to make sure this fits. It does not, so we need to knock out this other piece. Some of these are easier to get from the outside. On the larger ones, you may want to get the center piece from the inside, and then the outer piece from the outside. See, center, and then and that's probably going to help you to be able to get these done smoothly without having to struggle, because we don't want to struggle, right? Get in there, be careful, wear gloves, and then we're just going to take and place all these connectors. Look at that. Wow, that's awesome. Then I got the smaller ones. I got 2 more. I'll get those in place. Now we've got all those connectors in place. Look at that. Oh my God, don't stick your finger in there. Now we've got all the connectors in place. We're going to take and knock out the knockouts right here. Make sure you don't stick your fingers in one of these. It's like a Chinese finger trap. It hurts. So we're going to take a flathead screwdriver, and we're going to take and knock out. You may want to knock out these before you put this conduit box on the battery, just to help you from having any damage from these actually being popped out, as you can see. Now we're ready to mount the inverter and the battery on the wall, and we got to be able to tie the inverter and battery together. So we have something called an X bracket. This X bracket is going to tie to both mounting brackets for the battery and the inverter. For the battery, we have the mounting bracket already connected to it, so we need to actually remove it. What we're going to do is we're going to take the 4 Phillips screws, and we're going to take those out so we can remove that mounting bracket. Then we're going to take the mounting bracket that's included with the inverter, which would set like this right here. once we mount it to the wall, these grooves would set right there on the top of these two connections for that inverter mounting bracket. We're going to take our template, we're going to move our battery up against the wall after we take the bracket off, and we're going to mark our template. Then we'll know where the mounting brackets are going to be placed, and then I'm going to show you how to take and mount those two mounting brackets to the X bracket. Now we're going to take our template, we're going to place it above the battery. Template right above, and looks like it's right there. Now I want to hit all four motor joints, so I'm actually going to take and move it up a little bit, and then I'm just going to mark it. So there's my 4 holes that line up with the mounting bracket. So now we know where our 4 holes are going to be drilled for that mounting bracket. Glad we have this template to work with. If you're unsure of how the X bracket connects to both the inverter and battery, go to your manual and then go to page 13, and there's instructions. And this is the quick start guide for the wall mount battery. Make sure you have both these guides with you during the installation process. Now we're going to drill a couple holes for our expansion bolts. So this right here is a masonry drill bit. I'm going to use my cordless drill, and for sizing you can see that this drill bit right here is not larger than the expansion bolt by much. So it's about the same size. So that's going to keep it to where when we install the expansion bolt and we tighten up the nut and the sleeve expands, it'll actually hold. So you don't want to get it too big to where it doesn't hold. So take our cordless drill, and then up top right here at the corners where the top mark is, that's where I'm going to drill the hole. There's one hole. And there's another hole. Now you can see. Oh, that's perfect. All right, so now let's go ahead and get the X bracket. Before you install the expansion bolts, you want to make sure that you drilled the hole the right length. So take your expansion bolt, put it up next to your masonry bit, and then you'll know, oh, I've got to drill the hole to this depth right here. So we want to check. Is it to that depth? No, it's not. So now it is. Got to make sure that it is far enough in. Otherwise, your expansion bolt's going to stick out and you're not going to be able to tighten the mounting plate to the wall. We got X bracket here. I'm going to choose the 2 holes on the bottom. And before we can place the bolt through, we are going to put the mounting plate up here. It may be beneficial to have somebody help you. So slide that expansion bolt in, and then we got the other hole on the other side. Same thing. And there it is. It's on the wall. Beautiful. Now how do we tap it in there? We use a hammer. We take. All right. Take this one. And there it is. There's our mounting plate, our X bracket. Now let's talk about what happens next. We need to make some more marks. So we're going to take our mounting plate for the battery, and we're going to line it up with the 2 holes. I'm going to use the holes on top. I'm going to line up these 2 holes right here, 1, 2. We're going to take and mark those holes, and then we're also going to mark the other 4 holes because there's 6 holes total for this mounting plate for the battery. So go ahead and mark those because you get 6 expansion bolts with the battery. And I would go ahead and use those. That way this heavy battery is secured against the wall. Also, while you're mounting, make sure that this X bracket stays flat against the wall. That way you don't have any issues with lining everything up once you drill your holes. Drilling the holes up top through the mortar joints, much easier than drilling through the brick. If you've got a cordless drill and you're drilling through brick, you may need to swap out that cordless drill for a drill with a corded drill like this one. If you've got a hammer drill, drilling through the brick with a hammer drill is much easier than trying to use a cordless drill. So this time I'm using the cordless drill. Now that we've got those holes drilled, it's time to mount the battery mounting plate to the X bracket and then to the wall. So we're going to lift up, place the expansion bolt through the hole, like so. Make sure you get it lined up. And there's our other expansion bolt. Looks like this one will hold it in place while we take the other two. And there that is. Hopefully that wasn't too painful to watch, but it looks like we're in good shape. So far, this is what it should look like. We got 6 bolts on the bottom, 2 on the top. Now we need to tighten up these bolts. Now it's time to tighten up the nuts for the expansion bolts, and I'm using a 13mm socket with an extension, and I'm using my cordless drill. Beautiful. I'm not tightening them up all the way. I'm going to use my ratchet with the socket here in a minute. So, all right, now I'm going to get my ratchet. Make it tight. Oh yeah. That's on there. Now I'm going to tighten these up. Now we need to take the battery, and you can see there's handles right here. You can actually get one person on one side, one on the other, and you lift up, and then you place this piece right here over this piece, right? This slips over this, and then you got a screw to hold it. Well, same thing for this one. You see that? This slips over this, and then you screw it in. So we're going to lift this up. All right, now we're going to lift it up. And then we're going to set it. Got our side on, that side on. All right. Now it's on the bracket, or the mounting plate. And now we're going to screw it in. Now it's time to mount the inverter on the mounting plate above the indoor conduit box. So let's pick up the inverter, lift it up, line it up with the brackets in the back. Left side's not on. And now it's on. How do we know it's on? Well, it's not coming off the wall. So you got a person to help you. There's some handles right here. Get some help. This is awesome. I'm excited. Now to make this inverter more secure, we've got a couple L brackets. So we can take and attach the L brackets with the 2 screws to the inverter, and then I can put another expansion bolt right here, and there's an L bracket for each side of that inverter. So I'm going to have one L bracket right here, and then I'm going to have one L bracket right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then safe to say this inverter is secured to the wall. L brackets connected to the wall and the inverter on both sides of the inverter. Here's the other one. Same process with the drill, masonry drill bit, the hammer, and then a socket. So right now we've got the battery on a mounting plate secured to the wall. inverter on a mounting plate secured to the wall, L brackets connected to the inverter secured to the wall. This is awesome. I love this setup. I'm super impressed how everything connects together. The instructions, the QR codes, everything was very well thought out. How do we connect our battery cables to the inverter terminals? I'm going to show you how to do that. You want to make sure that the breaker is off. Right here, the breaker is in the off position for the inverter. We've got the breaker in the off position. If I don't have a load connected, I don't recommend you have a load connected and then connect the battery. But make sure the breakers are off. Use your voltmeter to test and measure voltage, and then connect these cables. So we're going to get an Allen tool right here, and we're going to use this Allen tool to loosen up where it says negative and positive. And we are going to route these two wires through like this. And then we're going to use the red, of course, for our positive and the black for our negative. I love the fact that these are pre-stripped wires. That's super nice. I'm going to shove that in there. We're going to tighten up our red wire to the positive terminal. We're going to take our black wire, and I am going to make sure my terminal is loosened up. There we go. Shove that in there. All right, now tighten it up. And then I'm going to make sure it's tight. All right. Now we're going to take the caps off right here for one of the positive connections and the negative connection. All right, get off there. There we go. Now we're going to take and connect. Oh, get these out of the way. All right, connect here, positive, and then I'm going to connect the negative to where it says negative. Battery connections are made. Now, let me show you the installation instructions. Right here in EG4 Electronics, installation manual or quick start guide for that wall mount battery. You've got battery cable connections and then examples for the 18K PV wall mount battery with one inverter. And then we have two batteries, one inverter. So you can parallel a couple batteries. That's nice. And then you've got three batteries, one inverter. You got several inverters, several batteries. So check out the installation manual or the quick start guide. Now we're going to connect our Cat 5 cable. For hooking up the battery communication cable, the Cat 5 orange cable, it's labeled on the battery communication or battery comm. And then up inside of the inverter, it says battery comm right there. You can see it's labeled for if you have extra batteries, 1, 2, 3 batteries parallel. So you'd use the gray cable right here, and this will help to make your system one system, so it will communicate. Make sure the breaker is on, and then we're going to turn on this breaker, and then we're going to turn on this switch. Boop. And I'm going to go ahead and put this cover back on, but we should see the power or the display light up. See that? Look at that. EG4. That is awesome. Oh, looks like we got some lights down here for the battery. Looks like the battery comes 55% charged. 55%. That is awesome. So up here, let's take a look at what we got. Plugging in the Wi-Fi dongle right here. Look at that. We got lights. Look at those lights. Awesome. I'm so excited. Here's the display. Looks like it's touchscreen. Keeps a log. A lot of good info. Very nice.